everyone, welcome to the Dolls and Queens Talk Show. The Dolls and Queens Talk Show is a non-biased platform created for the expressions, experiences, and education about cosmetic surgery or body enhancements of any kind. I'm sure there's something you would like to know. Come on, let's go to the DQ Lab. Today's DQ Lab fact is CBD has antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, whereas THC is more potent relief from symptoms such as loss of appetite, anxiety, and stress. With that being said, let's meet today's guest. Her name is Michelle Zhang. She is a medical cannabis care specialist. Boy, I'm sure you guys have a lot to learn and a lot to listen to from this lady because she's very knowledgeable about this craft. And we've got such a show in store for you. I just can't wait to dig in, or shall we say, smoke up. Let's meet Michelle Zhang. Michelle, welcome to the Dolls and Queens Talk Show.
Hi, Kayla. How are you?
Oh, good.
Everybody.
Welcome to the Dolls and Queens Talk Show.
Thank you.
We've got so much to cover. I'm sure there's so many questions and so many things that people need to know about cannabis versus THC.
THC, CBD, and all the things that come with it.
There you have it. So we're going to dig right in.
MedC3 is also called Medical Cannabis Care Center. I'm a registered nurse with over 20 years of experience, and I realized that with cannabis being so wildly popular, especially in the city of Las Vegas, we also have medical cannabis patients.
But it's legal here. So
Absolutely.
Of course, it's going to be popular where it's legal.
Right, and unfortunately, when medical cannabis patients come in, they don't have enough information to know how to take the medication right. And unfortunately, it ends up not being utilized the way it's supposed to be utilized. So that's where I come in. I'm a certified nurse care specialist with a medical cannabis background. I actually went to school. I have a certification from the Pacific College of Health and Science.
Okay, but this is the thing. This is the main thing I want to ask that you educate everybody on first and foremost. Before we dig a little deeper, what's the difference between CBD and THC? What's the difference?
THC and CBD, well, let's talk about the scientific name first.
Okay.
THC is called delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, THC for short. CBD is also called cannabidiol, okay? Those are the two components or cannabinoids found in cannabis, and the two most researched cannabinoids.
Okay.
And the difference between the two of them is actually where they are most used and where they affect the body.
Okay, tell us more, I'm listening.
Okay, so with THC tends to bind to the receptors that are mostly found up here by the brain, okay? And what it does, it actually creates that psychoactive effect, which means people tend to have euphoria and tend to have that kind of change of cognitive, okay?
Is that the street term high feeling? They feel high or on cloud nine, or I don't know what the term is they're using nowadays, but you know, back in my day it was cloud nine. I don't know what they're saying they are now, but is that what you're saying?
It is, and what we call it in the medical field is elevate. It's elevated. It's a feeling of elevated, right?
Okay.
CBD doesn't necessarily attach to a specific receptor, unlike THC does. But what it does is it actually affects what we call the bliss molecule that is found in every single person, okay? And CBD affects the endocannabinoid system. Okay, I'm going to geek out for a second here.
Yeah, tell us what's the endocannabinoid system, break it down for us in lay terms, for my viewers out there that's like, she's lost me in all of this.
Okay, I'll bring you back. So, endocannabinoid system. Every single one of us has a cardiac, abdominal or gastrointestinal, the integumentary, which is the skin,
Okay.
and the pulmonary systems, right?
Yes.
The endocannabinoid system is actually responsible for keeping the body balanced. The homeostatic state.
Homeostasis, I remember that.
Yes, in nursing school.
Keeping balance.
Everything
within the
in
body.
balance. So what does that mean? The body is not in a sick state or anything like that. That is where the CBD comes in. Because what it does is that bliss molecule called anandamide, okay, in the body. It is what we have in the body. Is the CBD is the one that will keep the anandamide in the system instead of being broken down. And so the body is constantly in a state of homeostasis. That's what CBD does. That's why it's perfect for a lot of uses, like the anti-inflammatory uses, regulation of temperature. It does that.
Right, because I just gave them a DQ lab fact that I talked about. CBD is good for inflammation.
Correct. And a lot of other functions other than the CBD, which pretty much covers this part. So with pain, for example, THC affects our perception of pain. CBD, mentally, correct.
Okay.
CBD is how we expect pain, or how it is actually how it is in the body, okay, versus what we think it is. So as far as pain is concerned, THC is the effect of the perception of pain versus CBD is the regulation of pain. So that's the difference between the two of them.
Okay.
THC tends to hang up here. CBD tends to be everywhere else from head to toe, because that is where homeostasis stays. And that is where the bliss molecule is, or anandamide.
Okay.
It doesn't just stay in one area, it's pretty much all over.
Do you feel that pain is more physical, mental, or emotional state of being? But before that, let's explore yet another flavor with Michelle Zhang, a certified cannabis specialist. Ooh, that's a tongue twister, girl. When we return to the Dolls and Queens Talk Show. Welcome back to the Dolls and Queens Talk Show as we continue our interview with Miss Michelle Zhang of the Medical Cannabis Center. But she's a certified medical cannabis specialist. Let me add that on there for you guys. What do you feel as far as pain? Is pain more physical, mental, or an emotional state of being?
Pain, in my experience as a nurse, are three things:
Okay.
mental, physical, and emotional. So what I mean by physical is when there is literally something going on in the body, that is a physical state. And what pain does is it actually attracts the nerve. There's a pain nerve center that gets attracted, and what it does is it sends the message all the way up to the brain saying, hey, there's pain here. Something's going on. You stubbed your toe. Therefore, there's a pain, okay?
Right.
That's very physical, folks. Then what happens is the emotional state. Ow! Cry, go ballistic or something like that. That is an emotional state, right? And the third is actually psychological, which also includes what has been your experience previously with the pain. Chronic pain sufferers are so used to having that pain that it actually affects so much more in their psychological state.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's three.
It's three things. I don't know, this might cause some controversy, but I'm going to ask it anyway. So do you think the laws should be fair across the board if a person uses cannabis and they use alcohol and say they run off the road? Should the punishment be the same, or it should be different, and why?
I have two words for that: impairment and safety. I'm a registered nurse by trade, and I have a responsibility to keep everyone that I come across with safe and alive. So to me, it doesn't matter. It's based on the impairment and the safety factor, because it's also the safety of the driver himself and the safety of the people around that.
And the reason I ask that is because I have heard people say, oh, wow, I was high, but I could still operate my car. Or I was drunk and I can still operate my car, and they get pulled over for a DUI, but they're not pulled over for a MUI, a marijuana under the influence. If that's a new thing, I just made it up. MUI, DUI. Heck, you're still under the influence, but again, the laws are different. So that's what I'm asking. What's the difference?
Personally, I've seen patients on both sides, okay? I've seen the patient come in after a wreck, and I've seen the driver come in after a wreck. And
On both sides?
On both sides. So unfortunately, I see one, a body in peril. And what do? Is I save both bodies as much as I can.
Well, good for you. Good for you. But I think people need to know that because, as I mentioned, there's an MUI and there's a DUI. And there's people say, oh, I was high, MUI, or I was drunk, DUI.
Under the influence is under the influence.
Let's go to dentistry. Dentists will not perform procedures on patients that have smoked cannabis. What's the rationale behind that?
I'm assuming, unfortunately, I don't have a lot of experience with dentistry.
But they'll do medical work. You just said anesthesia.
Correct.
They'll just increase it.
Correct.
So what do you think the concept is with the dentist?
Most likely it's the same concept. It's because when you take cannabis, especially THC, the frequency and the dosage makes a difference. And especially certain medications actually are affected by cannabis. One of them is a blood thinner, believe it or not. So,
yes.
So if you are on a blood thinner and you're gonna go under surgery, most of the time in the medical field, we hold and we regulate that blood thinner so then you're not bleeding.
Absolutely.
Okay?
You don't bleed out in
Correct.
surgery. Yes.
Certain medical cannabis components will actually increase the blood thinner side, or not necessarily really increase to the point that you're bleeding, to the point that it will create an effect. That's the key word.
So that can actually be dentist and medical.
Correct.
Say,
They're
on
both.
either side.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you can have a bleeding instance with your teeth as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, that was a question that I wanted to ask because a friend of mine gave me that question to ask on the show. So I hope they're watching, and she answered the question about the dentist. What is your overall opinion related to body enhancement procedures in today's society?
Body enhancement procedures, from my experience, usually comes from the patients who've had mastectomy, okay? Or status post weight loss surgery, gastric bypasses, where they need paniculectomy, right? And also,
what's paniculectomy?
It is when you have excess skin from that extreme weight loss, and so we need to get that because it actually causes pain.
Yes.
It will actually, yes, it does. It's very heavy for a person to carry that
around
much extra weight. Okay, and at the same time, for patients who came out congenital, meaning they were born with it.
Yes.
Some patients I've had who had deviated septums have a hard time breathing. And if we had...
Tell them what a deviated septum, I know it is with the nose, but can you tell them? Because again, remember, we're talking to non-medical people.
Yes, deviated septum is when literally the bridge of the nose is not straight enough, so it's crooked. And unfortunately, because it's crooked, like any kind of tube, you're breathing, the air doesn't come out or come in and out, not good enough, so you're not getting enough oxygen or breathing well.
So you're saying a congenital abnormality.
Congenital, meaning they were born with it. Yes, correct.
Okay, well, that's great. Can you tell everybody where they can reach you, and your information before we get ready to go to the advisors? Can you tell everybody how they can get more information on this or reach you? Whichever
Absolutely.
The case may be.
So I'm with MedC3 Medical Cannabis Care Center. My phone number is 702-323-9510. I'm also at medc3.com. I have a website. Feel free to go in there. If you have any questions, feel free to send in an email at info@medc3.com.
And that's free.
That is free. I also
free information, guys.
Yes.
One more time for the audience.
I also do a 10-minute free initial call. And that is when we sit down and we figure out, is medical cannabis for you? And what can I do for you too?
Deciding your flavor. We will find out what the other dolls and queens have to say when we return.
My name is Alyssa Waters, and I am the owner and founder of Waters of Wisdom, Life, and Spiritual Coaching. I guide you to the realization that you are the hero of your own story. Whether it's finding your voice and owning your narrative, or going through a career change, or working on self-confidence and self-esteem, I am your personal growth partner.
Welcome back to the Dolls and Queens Talk Show. With all that's been shared by our lovely guest today, Miss Michelle Zhang, let's consult the DQ advisors and see what they have to say. Hello, DQ advisor. Welcome to the show. What's your flavor?
How long do you think a man should detox his body for male enhancements?
So if a male wants to have a body enhancements, you're saying how long should they wait to detox it? You mean from marijuana, from CBD or THC?
From THC.
From THC. Oh, that's a good question.
Very good question. So there's actually what we call a time frame that THC is actually degraded and it gets out of the system. So if we're talking about male enhancement surgery, there has to be a combination of the anesthesia and also the doctor's advice in regards to how long they need to be off of not CBD technically, but it's THC in order to get into the surgery, right? Because all of that makes a difference about what we talked earlier, how much anesthesia they're gonna need, how much as far as what kind of anesthesia they're gonna need. Are we gonna have a problem keeping them down and staying down or waking them up after?
So is that, I think what, caller, if I'm not mistaken, I think what you're really trying to ask her is also, how long does it stay in your system? Is that correct?
Yes.
How long does THC stay in your system?
THC tends to stay in the system for, and again, unfortunately, it depends on how much THC you're taking, okay?
Meaning if you smoke every day or if you chain smoke back to back.
Correct.
So the
frequency, dosage,
okay,
and the type that you're taking.
Meaning?
Meaning the type of chemovar, the type of terpenes that is included in that, and all that stuff that is included, because THC sometimes could be, it's a combination of certain things.
Okay.
And also, it depends on the product that you're using, because I always, in medical cannabis, okay, we always request for a certificate, which is called COA, which means it's kind of like when
What's
you
a
look
COA?
at, COA is actually the certificate of the listing of what is included in that product. It's almost like what we get.
Is that on the back of the packages when they buy it, or?
Not necessarily.
Really?
We usually have to request that from the dispensary. And if you get it from a reputable dispensary, they will be able to give you that without any problem. And what they do is they actually check every single batch, and they'll give you exactly how much dosage you're taking and what kind of components are in that product. At the same time, it will also test for any bacteria, fungus, minerals, or any kind of impurities that you don't want in your body.
That's good information. Did she answer your question?
Yes, he did. That was great. Thank you.
Thank you for calling. Have a great day.
Thank you, Dolly Queen.
Thank you so much. Hello, DQ Advisor. Welcome to the show. What's your flavor today?
How you doing? My name is Michael, and I'm calling from the Quad Cities.
Okay, Quad Cities. Hi, Michael.
How you doing?
We're doing great. We're having a beautiful day here on the Dolls and Queens Talk Show.
Thank you for this morning. So I medicate myself quite often. Dealing with my different elements, PTSD, stress, work, normal life situations. And flower works for me quite well. But I have a question of, meaning, is there different ways that your body processes THC? Because when I take edibles, they don't work for me. And I've taken extreme amounts of THC in an edible form, like, thousands of milligrams at a time, and I haven't felt anything. But when I smoke the flower, it's perfectly fine. Could you tell me, like, what it could be that causes my body not to react to one form as opposed to the other?
That is such a great question. What the question that I heard is about routes of
administration.
Taking. Correct,
Yes.
correct. So the way he is taking it and the way that he's explaining it, he's taking it two ways. He's inhaling and ingesting, or by mouth, what we
Yes.
call PO, okay?
Yes, yes.
So there's a lot of levels to that question, actually, because depending on the route of administration, just like any medication, there is an onset and there is an action and how long it stays
Yeah,
in the
a peak.
system, okay? So the fastest route is actually inhaling, smoking it, okay? That is the fastest route, and at the same time, it also could be, depending on what you're doing, it could also be the fastest in going to the system, okay? Then he's talking about ingesting, or the gummies.
The edibles.
Edibles.
Yes, yes.
Unfortunately, with edibles, a lot of edibles out there, we cannot really control the dosage that is in it, okay? And that's first part. The second part, anything that is going orally into the system has to go through the liver first. That is including pharmaceuticals, okay? Once it hits the liver, there's such a thing called the first pass. And what it does is the liver will break whatever goes in there first, and the dosage that you walked in with,
It's not what the dosage that you're going to come
correct,
out
that's
with.
gonna go through the
Because it's already
system.
broken it down.
Correct.
Okay, understood.
Correct.
That makes sense.
And inhaling does not go through
to
the liver.
So it automatically goes
Exactly.
to the brain to give you the euphoria.
Right.
Okay, caller, thank you so much for calling.
Thank you very much.
So our final prognosis with that today is, what do you want to tell them?
If you are taking cannabis, I really suggest that you tell your doctor first. That's the most important part, okay? Because there is such a thing as medical cannabis as well. It is a form of treatment. And at the same time, people like me who have been in the medical field and have the experience can actually sit down with you and talk to you about it, so then we can get the therapeutic effects of medical cannabis. But at the same time, it is a drug that will really help people that have been helping people for thousands of years. And we are now just trying to catch up, so we can also use that for helpful remedies.
I would like to thank you, Michelle Zhang, for coming in today and being a part of the Dolls and Queens Talk Show.
Thank you.
You've been very informative, and I hope that my audience and all my fans, my people out there, have learned more about medical cannabis and recreational cannabis in relation to life and also surgery. Thank you for being a part of the Dolls and Queens Talk Show, and you just have a beautiful day.
Thank you.
Stay
You do as
beautiful.
well. Thank you.
Thank
Kayla.
you so
too.
much.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thanks, everyone.
Up next, the Dolls and Queens Talk Show Beauty Bar Tip of the Week.
Hey everyone, my name is Kayla Cummings. I'm the host of the Dolls and Queens Talk Show. I'm personally inviting you or someone you may know who's had any type of body enhancements or would like to have body enhancements to join our show for the new season. It doesn't matter how much or how little. Tattoos, veneers, body piercings, male by day, female by night. It doesn't matter. I love you anyway. Love the skin you're in.
Welcome back to the Dolls and Queens Talk Show. Now, let's introduce this week's Beauty Bar Tip winner. This week's Beauty Bar Tip winner comes from Wilma of Huntsville, Alabama. Dark under eye circle test. She says it's the pinch test. Gently pinch the skin under your eyes with 2 fingers. If the darkness disappears, then it's likely caused by the appearance of blood vessels under the skin. If the darkness remains, it's more likely to be hyperpigmentation. Congratulations, Wilma from Huntsville, Alabama. You are the winner of this week's Beauty Bar Tip. You will receive a complimentary Dolls and Queens t-shirt. If you know of a beauty tip and would like a chance to have it read on our show or be a guest on our show, visit our website at www.dqsurgerybar.com. Tune in every other Thursday on the CWLB or visit the Dolls and Queens DQ Surgery Bar YouTube channel. And always remember, there's a flavor for everyone.